Jonathan Crompton joins us now. Jonathan, look at him with his picture in the back. Hey, is that Kelly Washington in the back?
You. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I can't really see though. I see you, but who's the other player?
That one's Arian. I've got a few others around this office. I've got more at home. Typically, I'll be doing this at home, but
Sure,
they're just scattered all over the place.
Do you talk to Arian much anymore?
Yeah, I hadn't talked to Aaron in a long time. Kind of one of those things that life kind of gets in the way. You know what I mean? Just especially from that era when you're a teenager, a young adult thinking you're grown, but you're really not. And kind of didn't grow up. Life gets in the way.
And last I spoke to Arian, I got a text out of nowhere, text message out of nowhere, and he said, "Hey, this is Arian Foster. I want to be on your show." And I was like, "Well, that's random." I didn't even have his number. I didn't even believe it was him. So I didn't even call him. And I said, "Yeah, sure." And so we got him on, and I said, "So how are things going there for you in the NFL?" And he said, he goes, "No, there's something else I want to talk about." And I was like, "What?" And he said, "Well, I've heard you've been talking trash about me," which I tell the truth, John, but you know me, I don't talk trash. Okay. And it was totally untrue. I was doing the show with Terry Fair, and Terry Fair backed me.
Oh,
But before it got to that point, he said, "So I've got an idea." And I'm like, "Uh-oh." And
Lord.
he goes, "How about we go to a boxing match and we work things out?" And John,
Okay.
I think I can handle myself against most people, but I'm not pretending to handle myself against a Division I athlete, in particular him.
Well,
How,
you know what's funny? That it makes a lot of sense because I don't know if our coaches really knew this. I didn't partake. We'll just say that. But there were some guys that they were like, "Yep, we're gonna have a boxing match here in the locker room. We're gonna do the damn thing."
Fight Club.
Like, and just put the gloves on. Kind of. I don't know if it was like I said. I didn't partake. I don't know how long it actually, like how many years it actually happened. So it makes sense.
wow, I would have really gotten my rear beat. Like,
Yeah.
really?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it only happened like a few times. The first like 05, 06 maybe. But yeah, so all right, makes sense.
Yep, he wanted to beat me up, not the first.
Hey, it's that saying, not the first won't be the last. You know what I mean? That's life. That's how we all are. Trust me, I'm in the same boat, Dave. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah. I mean, I've had John Chavis charge at me. So, I mean, there's been a lot of things that have happened during some tough years. But, Jonathan, let's talk about now. I'm curious what you thought of Tennessee in the opener. And then let's spin it forward to what you think about Pitt. Just wide open, your thoughts. Take it where you wish.
Cool. All right. Well, opener went kind of as expected. I mean, Ball State, they came out knowing we were the better team. Let's call it like it is. This time last year, I don't think we would have expected that performance, because we didn't know what to expect. So I think for the most part, we played really well. What was it, 38 at half?
Mm-hmm.
Even with the sometimes not so great play, I don't care who you are, you're going to take 38 points at half. You know what I mean? Like so for everybody that's like, oh, well, we should have done this, we should have done this, dude, it's 38 points at halftime. Like there's always going to be something to correct. So I think we played well for game one. And I did say last week during the either the halftime or post game show, I totally agree with. I was flipped back and forth between the Pitt game, if Pitt and West Virginia and timeouts and commercials. And one of the announcers for the Pitt West Virginia game was like, "You know what I love about college football? There's no preseason game. Week one is your let's roll it out there and see how we play." I love that personally. I think that's great. Especially if you play a bigger opponent week one or week two, you're getting the kinks out. So week one was as we expected, fast pace. I would say we had a little too many errant throws versus false starts. Because in this offense, we know we're going to get false starts. We play so fast. So the throws that were high are a carryover from last year. But that's also, and I've been very open about it, I don't think that is necessarily on Hendon. I think that is the mechanics that they're making him and all the quarterbacks have with their feet. That's a whole different conversation, though. That's why those throws are going high, is because of the things that they're having to do. And if you watch any quarterback goes into play, they all have the same. We get to a certain base width and we don't move our feet. That's how they teach it. So that, that's, I don't necessarily agree with it, but there's, doesn't mean that I'm right.
Let me ask you this. I'll watch for that on Saturday. That's really awesome insight. So let me ask you this: as far as getting the ball out quick enough, I know it's Ball State, so bear with me, but did you see the ball coming out quicker? Because there were issues with that last year, I thought.
Yes, but that is the system that we play in the sense of almost every route is a read route or an option route. Like the first play, we threw what's called a wheel stop, running an out and up, and he stops about 12 yards. That is a read. If the corner's deep, you stop. If you're, the old cliche, if you're even, you're leaving. So if he's even with the defensive back, he's running. So there's a lot of plays in this playbook that are option type reads that if you have to, one, make sure you know where they're going first before you throw. So there are going to be times that it looks like, oh, the ball's not coming out as quick as it should, blah, blah, blah. Well, because when the bullets are firing and you've got a dude in front of you and 300-pounders trying to hit you, you've still got to be able to make sure you find that window in the pocket to understand where your guy's going to run, because it's not just a 10 and in. It could be a 10 and in, it could be a seam, it could be a 10 and out, right? So but that's also the beauty of this offense. It's hard for the defense to be right.
Yeah. I mean, the defense definitely Pitt's defense definitely has a game on its hands with Hendon Hooker and with Jabari Small and the dynamic offense that Tennessee brings. So you are obviously former quarterback. You've played this game at a high level, and all of us up here, media-wise, for the most part, all we can do is guess and observe and analyze and all of that. I want to get your opinion. What is, if you're looking at one specific position in this game, both offensive, defensive, what position are you looking at, or what person are you looking at specifically to make a big impact?
Running back group. And by the way, to kind of go about what you said about guessing, I promise you, don't let anybody fool you. 99% of even former players, it's a very educated guess. You know what I mean? It's just, if we're not in the meeting room, I'm going off of just what I know about certain things about football. And people try to say, oh, well, you're not there. You're right, I'm not there. But neither are you. Like being funny. So yes, we all are guessing in a sense. And I think you guys have done a tremendous job. Let me just say that. But I'm going to go running back group just because I think for us, I'm not saying underrated, but underproven, because they haven't had the chance to really prove it yet. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those that I think, watching them last week, I think we have 2, but possibly 3 running backs that you go, you know what? All 3 of you can stay fresh. We don't have to go 90 plays with the same guy. You're not the Derrick Henry type. We're just going to pound you and bruise you and then break one. We can just rotate them in every 2 plays and say, dude, these guys are like track stars now. That's what I'm really intrigued about, because we play so fast. Watch the running backs last week. It was funny. Might have been Small. I can't remember exactly. After 4 plays, get me out, because we're going. Right. And it was 4 straight run plays. That's a beautiful thing for them to say, I don't have to play 15 straight. I got another dude that can play right behind me that's just as good, that can help this team. So I think running backs this week could be a difference maker for us.
Yeah.
I saw Hooker last week, a different Hooker. Sounds weird.
Yeah, let's.
That honestly, it was one that sounded different in my head. It's like, oh yeah, I heard that one now. I heard that when it came out.
Yep.
With inflation, sometimes you have to make business decisions.
Hard pass.
Yeah. So I saw a different Hendon last week that was more composed, and as opposed to last year when he's kind of thrown in there and then suddenly he is the starter. And I'm curious if you saw that, and if there was a moment, I think I know when it might be, or a game in which you felt composed, in particular your senior year, where you felt comfortable, because there's something to be said for going into a game feeling comfortable, right?
Yeah. There's a saying playing quarterback, or really playing football, but especially quarterback, you've got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And that is a really oxymoron, statement. Like, there's how are you going to be comfortable not knowing? Because what I tell the kids I work with all the time, they're allowed to game plan too. So we have to try to prepare for everything, and you physically cannot. So the best, to me, the most comfortable time is when you've got all your guys healthy, or depending on time of season, healthy for the said game, and everybody's on the same page. Hard part is when you're changing systems every year, it's very hard for every school to do that. That's what I give, like, for instance, New England, I give them credit when they change a coordinator. You learn my system. That simple, right? Whoever the coordinator is going to learn the New England system, right? It's going to be the same formation, called the same things. There'll be a couple tweaks. We didn't have that. It was whoever came in, we learned their system. And that does make it tougher because everybody learns at a different level. And there's nothing wrong with it. That's one of the beauties of football. That you get so many different guys from different backgrounds and parts of the country, but that's also the downside of football when you do change systems so often. If a system doesn't fit somebody's eye, or if their brain doesn't want to learn the way that they want to, or the coach doesn't like to teach the way he said kids learn, it does make it difficult. So that would probably be the time I felt comfortable the most, was when everybody was healthy. Finally, about halfway through that season, because we had about 3 or 4 starting receivers out the first 4 or 5 games.
Well, and the big one was the Georgia game. Played incredibly well. Was that the moment, or was there even a time before that you felt comfortable? Maybe the results weren't there.
Well, no, I mean, I felt comfortable in the system because it was finally a system that was quarterback friendly and allowed you to, if you had, and this is how I teach and coach. Steve Young said it best. Excuse me. Coaching is the ultimate suggestion. And I say that meaning it's very easy for me as a high school offense coordinator to sit in the box and go, yep, you should have thrown the ball there. He was wide open. That's our read. Well, I don't know. I do, but for this kid, don't know what it's like for, hypothetically, the right guard completely whiffs, or the running back forgets he's in protection and they blitz off the edge. That dude coming out of just scot-free in your face. Sometimes coaching is a great suggestion, but it's not a dictatorship. And that's where to me, and it is an opinion only, that's where I think some coaches get it wrong. It's, if you don't do it my way, it's the highway. Times have changed, right? If you look at the athlete now, and I will go to my grave thinking this, don't get me wrong, there were some phenomenal athletes, back in the day. The athlete has developed in such an astronomical way that it is kind of freaky watching some of these athletes in every sport play going, what the hell did you eat growing up? You know what I'm saying? Like, yes. Really? And it's just different. It's not, 1985 anymore with the Chicago Bears, downhill, blood running out of your nose, and we're wearing neck rolls and blah, blah, blah. It is totally different. So times have changed. You got to adjust if you want to be a good coach. And that's where that system with Lane. And now, and the thing is, he's even changed that system since I was with him.
Yeah.
Times have changed. You know what I'm saying? Times have changed. He's evolved to where it was so quarterback friendly that if you saw something and you told him, well, this is why I did it because I saw this, and you had an actual explanation, he would go, okay, all right, so let's think this then. Let's go this route the rest of the game. Because if that's what you're seeing, because you're the one on the field doing it, not from a skybox.
Right. Whew. I remember the Lane Kiffin era. That was a good time, wasn't it?
It was until it wasn't.
It was great. It was great until it was not great.
Yeah.
So we talked about the coaches, like you brought up Lane Kiffin, and you brought up how the games have changed, or the game has changed, and the coaching has changed with it and evolved. How do you think Heupel is doing at Tennessee regarding the coaching change and doing what you're talking about, evolving with the game?
Oh, I'm not going to say but one of the best, even before he was at Tennessee, in doing that. If you watch where he was at with Missouri and then UCF, players want to play for him. And in today's day and age, if the players don't want to play for you, they're not going to perform. Right? Nick Saban might be one of the only ones left that is like old school, hard nosed. Well, I'm just going to rip your rear end, don't care, bench you no matter what, blah, blah, blah. But that's because they also know that if you go to Alabama and you're halfway decent, you're still going to get drafted. Mm-hmm. Right. And I don't know. Honestly, I think that might have something to do with just his reputation in the NFL as well. But I think Heupel has got everywhere he's been so far as a coordinator, head coach. He's got these kids wanting to play for him. You do things in the summertime. And everybody would kind of do it back then, but it wouldn't be I'm not going to say as often, but like it almost still seemed like it was conditioning drill rather than, dude, we're going to play kickball today. You have busted your rear end for X amount of straight days. We're going to play kickball and let you understand we know your kids. We're going to go to the baseball field and we're going to have a softball game. Things like that. Everybody used to do the one night during camp of bowling. Well, that is one night for the whole month that it was keyword night, that you still had the whole day worth of work, right? And so don't get me wrong, it was very exciting. Everybody's like, yeah, we don't have night meetings, blah, blah, blah. But it's, once again, times have changed. You got to get creative on how do you want these kids, and especially in today's world of transfer portal, you got to get these kids to want to stay and or get the kids to want to come to you. And if you look at it, we've done a pretty damn good job at that since he's been here. And I'd play for him if I was coming out of high school.
That's probably you bring that up, and I thought you were going to go in a different direction. I think the two biggest factors, Jonathan, are that you named one of them, and the other is I do think schematically he's ahead of the vast majority of coaches in college football. Would you agree with that?
Yes, but I've been very honest and public about this. I do have an issue, not with Tennessee, but with like certain systems.
Sure.
Auburn,
they
Oklahoma.
Run, well, I understand Auburn. They run like 18 tight ends out onto the field.
Well, or let me take it back. Old Auburn, I guess now UCF.
Okay.
Because honestly, I don't watch Auburn. I don't like Auburn, so I don't watch them.
No.
I don't know anybody that does.
You know who doesn't like?
I don't think they like themselves. You know what I'm saying?
I think who doesn't like Auburn the most is Brian Harsin, their head coach.
Probably not. You're right on that.
I don't know. I'm right, probably right there with him. I do not like them.
So go back to
that. With those systems though, like Oregon, or now technically kind of Miami, Oklahoma State, like Texas Tech, all these types of systems. Their system is not like Mississippi State's air raid system. Their systems are Clemson, North Carolina, right? It just keeps going on and on. I have an issue with it from the quarterback stance of you're not really taught how to play quarterback. It's, hey, so and so's going to be open. You're throwing him the ball. Like you're just throwing the ball. Oh, what are we doing to scheme this route though? What are we doing to set this play up? And that's where I go with Lane. His system has changed, and it looks like a lot of that fast paced. We're going, 4 and 5 wide, and it looks like those systems. But Lane schemes it to where you understand why we're running the play and how we're trying to attack said play. A lot of those schools don't. That is my issue. So I say that with like Tennessee, with Heupel and these guys, at least they do seem to do a good job of like Lane going, we're running this play. Here's what we're trying to look at, not just throw the ball over there. You know what I mean? So I think he is ahead of the game in that sense. And it also, to me, comes from a background of playing quarterback, understanding what it's like to be back there and the coach not give you any insight, and you go, I'm winging it, right? I just got to be a ball player here. That is a very bad feeling.
Yeah.
I had somebody bring something up to me, and I'm going to throw this at you, Jonathan. I'll let you get out of here. First, though, tell me about what all you're doing in your quarterback camp, if you can, and how people can. Is there a way to get a hold of you, because you're making good players great and great players elite? So how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm the worst at social media. Like, I don't hide it.
I tell you what, they can email me at dave@offthehooksports.com, and I'll get if you have a young man.
I'm working on it. We'll just say this.
I'm trying.
I am the younger generation Nick Saban of like, I hate checking emails, but I have to. I don't like it. That's a personal issue that I have to get over.
Well, we're going to get there. We're going to work together. After 3 years of working in digital marketing, I think I can help you. But,
Yes.
John, I want to get back to, as far as you talk about Heupel's offense. Here is my theory, and like I always say, tell me if I'm crazy, okay? Because you know more about ball than I do. So I think this offense right now is almost like an option offense 15, 20 years ago, like a triple option that that is tough to prepare for week of, and it helps you overcome deficiencies in your roster, which I don't think they have the same talent of an Alabama, Georgia. But I think the evolution,
not yet.
Right, not yet, right. I think the evolution of that is when the talent's a little bit closer, you're going to have to be able to hold on to the football, have 4-minute drives so your defense rest, and play complementary football.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
You don't think they'll ever do that?
Not in this system, and it's the feast or famine, and that's where. But here's the thing: they also, when they're recruiting these defensive players, you got to be up front and say, "Hey, by the way, you're probably going to play 90 plays a game. Point blank, we're going to get you in shape." Because, like he said, I mean, it's 4th and 6 inches. We're staying in shotgun. We don't care. That's the system. That's the flaw of the system, but that's the system. And, we're not built to do, minute 59 left to go. We're up by, 2 on the -20, and they got 1 timeout to kill the clock. We're still trying to roll. Do you practice it? Yes. But when the game comes, your players are not built for that in this system.
Jonathan,
I don't agree with it. I think we should, but I'm pretty open about this. And the mindset of a coach like this, and I love it. It's like the race to 60 points. Yep. First one to 60 wins. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like in backyard football, or basketball. Make it, take it. Right? You hit a home run and wiffle ball in the backyard, you're still up. That type of stuff. That's just what we're going to do. I hope we evolve into that. I just don't know how well we'll do that because we're built to be track stars. This system is not built to have Derrick Henrys downhill, hold the clock. It is rotate them in and out and let's just ride.
Yeah. Jonathan, great stuff. your academy. If anybody wants to get up with Jonathan, you can email me at david@offthehooksports.com. And again, he's doing a fantastic job. I also encourage you to check out Crompton Automotive for those that might be watching in the Waynesville area there in North Carolina and near Asheville. So, Jonathan, have a great weekend. Enjoy ball, man. We appreciate the time.
I appreciate it. Y'all have a great one.
Thanks, man. Jonathan Crompton.